I was just thinking about this, with all the sold out tours and all the albums and the video games and the documentary and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When do you think you're finally going to get your big break and maybe make it as a band?
I'm waiting. One thing that actually made me feel like I had finally arrived was the day before the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when I got to sit down with Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Joe Perry, and Ron Wood and play guitar. And actually, it wasn't the day before; it was the day of. It was the sound check that morning, and we all got to play a few songs together. And I'm looking around playing guitar, and I'm looking at the four guitar players who I worshipped when I was in high school. Again, Joe Perry, Ron Wood, Jimmy Page, and Jeff Beck. And I finally thought, this is the thing. This is the stuff dreams are made of right here. This is just like, my dream realized. I mean, I would fantasize about playing with these guys when I was in high school, and here I am, not only playing with them, but like doing a sound check with them to do a show with them later on. And it was an amazing experience. And I thought after that, I can walk out of here and get hit by lightning, and it wouldn't matter.
Because you lived your life. I mean, you're respected with those guys now. You're in the same echelon. Maybe not in your mind because they were always your heroes, but they're your peers now, and for young guitarists that are coming up, when they hear the stories, you're involved in that now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, everything kind of like crystallized during that moment, and I thought, wow, this is what it's all about. And then I realized, it always was my goal to play with these guys. It wasn't necessarily my goal to make and become, rich and famous or whatnot, all that other crap. It was really to just like be able to hang out with these guys and play guitar.
Yeah, that's why you get into the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other stuff is a bonus.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Also, is like, are there any other heroes out there that you like to play with? I mean, you pretty much named the upper echelon right there of guitar players.
Well, Eddie Van Halen, he's up there in my book too, and Michael Schenker and Ulrich Roth. Those are two other guitar players who I respect a lot. And then there's just like a whole slew of other players I'd love to play with. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And there's a lot of contemporary bands who have guitar players I respect a lot, and I've already played with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brent from Mastodon, I think he's a great player. Mark from Lamb of God, Mark and Willie, they're great players. I mean, Omar from Mars Volta, he's a great player, and I've jammed with all those guys. And, it's been a lot of fun.
And now you get to bring those guys on the road with you, and they're the ones that are saying, "I'm jammed with Kirk Hammett." You know what I mean? That's the cool thing.
I guess what comes around goes around. I mean, what goes around comes around, or however it's said.
Well, you've also kind of like gotten out of the metal genre a little bit. I know you worked with Kanon a little bit. How did that come about?
It was kind of a trip how that came about. We were playing Bonnaroo, and Stephen Marley was on the bill, and I'm a big Bob Marley fan. I like Ziggy Marley. I love Damian Marley's last two albums. I just picked up Stephen Marley's album, Mind Control.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that he was there at Bonnaroo, I just had to go up to him and introduce myself. So I went over to his bus, went on the bus. It was pretty gnarly because it was just me and 15 Rastafarians.
Had to cut through the cloud of smoke.
Yeah, the usual thing. And I got to meet Stephen Marley. He was very cool. And Steve turned and said, "This is my friend Kanan." And I was like, "Hey, how you doing, Kanan?" And we talked, and that was it. That was that. And then a few months later, I got a phone call from Kanan's management asking me if I was interested in playing on this track. And I said, I'll check it out. So they sent out the track, and I listened to it, and I thought, this is a pretty cool song. And I just went for it. Over 2 days' time, I just laid down a bunch of guitar solos and sent it to Kanan and his producer, and what you hear is what they ended up using.
Very
And
cool.
it was very cool, and it was just a lot of fun, and I can't wait to actually hook up with Kanan sometime soon and actually play the song with him on stage.
Yeah, that would be a cool experience to experience. That's definitely a different audience too.
Yeah, definitely.
We are backstage with Kirk Hammett here at the Bank Atlantic Center in Fort Lauderdale, site of tonight's Metallica show. Last time you were in town actually was in support of St. Anger, and obviously the documentary had come out, and you'd worked with Bob Rock, and Robert was kind of new to the band at the time, and he really wasn't in on the creative process of the album. This time with Death Magnetic, he's a full-fledged member of the band, and he's involved in the writing process. Did things go a little bit more smooth? Did it seem like he gave breathe new youth into the creative process of the album?
Oh, absolutely. When he joined the band, like you were saying, he was fairly new to the whole experience. But having gone on tour with us to support an entire support an album over the course of an entire tour, gave him a lot of time to kind of establish himself within the band, and get to know all of us personally, and that really helped when it came to the time to start writing the whole when it came to time to start the whole songwriting process. And so he was at a point where he was just very comfortable being with us.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started writing, it was great because he showed a lot of commitment. He was there every day. He certainly was there a lot more than I was.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go for not one but two baby breaks. I managed to have two children over the course of the making of Death Magnetic.
Well, congrats.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, he had a lot of really great ideas. A lot of them were very progressive in nature, which was very, very cool for us. And kind of like up the ante as far as the musicianship goes with the material. And it went so smooth with Rob around, and his personality is really great. He's patient. He listens. He's open-minded. He's interested. He's proactive. How much more can you want from a fellow band member?
Right. And for a lot of people that don't understand, he comes from a great musical background as well, with Suicidal Tendencies and Infectious Grooves. So I mean, he's dug it out there on tour.
Yeah.
Just like you guys had to at the beginning as well.
Yeah, he's real experienced, and he knows what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys, you're doing the tour again in support of the new album, and I know you've played some festivals overseas like Sonosphere, and what's next for you guys? Are you guys going to continue to tour? Or,
Yeah, we just hit the halfway mark last month, and we have about another year worth of touring. At least that's what's on the books right now. We're going to be touring throughout the States to the end of the year. In the beginning of next year, we're going to start doing places like South America. We're going to go back to Europe and play a bunch of shows in both Eastern and Western Europe. At some point, we're going to jump on over to Asia and also Australia. And, that's all just being scheduled right now. We're kind of figuring out the scheduling and the routing and what we feel we need to do. But it's been great, I have to say. Most of the shows everywhere have been sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this particular point in time where, times are pretty rough for everyone.
Sure.
And everyone's feeling it from the ground up, literally. I mean, I'm very appreciative and very thankful that we can go out and tour and sell tickets and even sell out shows.
Right.
It blows me away. So I just have to say, thanks again, all you people out there who are giving the support over the course of our career and supporting this album and this tour right now.
Well, like you said, times are tough, and people are doing other, finding other forms of entertainment. And you guys are one of the bands that can still sell records. But the music industry is changing, and not a lot of bands are selling that many records anymore. What do you think artists are going to have to do to stay relevant and be creative in ways of getting their music out there? Because labels are folding left and right.
Yeah, I don't really like to prophesize on what turns the industry is going to make, because it might change. It might all change in 2 years. I mean, there might be another format, or there might be new laws, and there might be a different sort of distribution process, or just a different model altogether from where we're at presently. So I mean, who knows?
Sure.
It's the future is just one big question mark. I will tell you that because of the state the record industry is in, it's more crucial now than ever before that bands go out there and just pound the pavement and go out there and tour and perform and go out and play to their audience. And I mean, you can really say that we've gone backwards in that extent. I mean, this is how it was before recorded music. I mean, you had your minstrels and you had your traveling bands, and,
Right.
And their only way of being able to make a living out of this was through gigging and performing. And so it's like that all over again. And I'm not so sure that that's a bad thing. I would only think that that's a good thing, because it'll hone. It's a good way to hone a band's chops.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to make your audience grow, and it really does separate the men from the boys going out there and touring hard and playing hard.
Well, the good thing about Metallica fans being so rabid about the band is they're gonna get the music one way or the other. They're gonna, whatever the format, whatever the means. They're gonna, we were standing outside and we saw flags. People were here from Costa Rica, to see you guys tonight.
Yeah.
So, that's gonna be a good feeling to be that appreciated.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. Very cool. I just met a guy from Ecuador, and I thought to myself, Ecuador? I don't think we've made it to Ecuador yet. And it was very, very psyched to be here.
Well, that's the second and third leg of the tour. Maybe you can get it down that way.
Or the fourth or fifth.
Kirk, listen, man, it's always great to talk to you, and thank you so much for taking some time out. I know it's a busy schedule, and you try to hit some waves whenever you can, and we appreciate it. So I thank you for taking some time out and talking with us again.
All right, man. Cheers, bro.